This is a Power 98.7 podcast. Now we're talking. Subscribe to Power 98.7 podcasts in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. There's more on power987.co.za.
Let's welcome on the line David Kau. Good morning, David.
Good morning. But it's important for that child to want to know the real father, but also the child can decide and spiritually adopt the new father.
Absolutely.
And cut off from the biological father.
The biological father.
Necessarily a father in her life or his life.
No, absolutely. Completely agree with you on that one. How are you?
No, I'm very well, thank you.
How were politician, the way you started? You sounded like I was for a second there. I thought, is this the right David Kau that we're talking about?
I'm here watching my 10-year-old make lunchbox for the 4-year-old and sometimes the 14-year-old. So my 10-year-old girl looks after my 14-year-old boy and my 4-year-old boy sometimes.
Ne? I know. You've got it all figured out. That's beautiful. Hey, man. I still struggle. The whole teenagers, the lunchbox. Hey, but anyway, this is not about me. How you been, David? Do you still do comedy? Or a politician?
I did it for 2 years or for at least 18 months straight, not in the traditional sense of standing in front of people and making them laugh. Which was a 2-year gap in 24 years since I started, October 1998.
You know, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've been trying to pick up the pieces where we left off. I mean, we went from doing 10,000 people at the Dome in 2018 to having 40 people in a show at some point. Then it's 100 people. Then you've advertised and Then tomorrow the regulations change. Then it's now 20 people in a 40-seater or 40 people in a 100-seater. So I don't think I'll ever stop doing comedy, It's just really, am I doing a club gig? Am I doing a friend's show? Am I popping in? Am I doing Black Song at Empress Palace? Or traveling? But I think at any age, really, I'll always get on stage and make people laugh.
You did a performance diploma in speech and drama. When you did that, I mean, what was the big idea for you?
I was gonna get an agent and wait for an audition for Generations. That was my plan. So I never wanted to become a stand-up comedian. I didn't even know what stand-up comedy is. We saw that Eddie Murphy Delirious tape that went around in the townships back in the day.
It's still one of my favorites.
But the first stand-up comedy show I was in was the first time I was at a stand-up comedy show.
Was it the Smirnoff one?
October 1998, Smirnoff International Comedy Festival.
That's a long
theater. Yeah. No. 24 years in.
Yeah, to think I still remember that show. Eh?
and then what happened was I was staying in Res and the promoter gave me about 60 complimentary tickets, and that was the first time there were black people watching a stand-up comedy show for the stand-up comedy festival. But they were all my Res mates, my mates from Res, from Clarendon House, because I gave them comps one night for the one show, and then the following night, more or less the same people, the same comps for another show. So for 2 nights, I mean, there were literally people there seeing stand-up comedy for their first time in their lives, and even watching, besides the ushers or people that work at the Baxter, there wasn't really black people watching or going to stand-up comedy shows. But one day I'll write a book. One day.
And if you look at that, one thing I respect about you guys as comedians is the ability to know your audience, the ability to read the room, as it were, and make the right jokes for the right people. Because, you might go and do black jokes to a white community that they might not understand, How do you find that balance, David?
So I always tell people I work for the people that are in the room. And I think that's where a lot of comedians don't understand being a comedian. But maybe that's changed quite a bit now. So, for instance, you can come to Makufe Comedy and 5,000 people, and almost the entire show could be in Sotho, not just Venek, and the audience would have zero problems because they get it, they understand. Same way Skomba can do his 2,000, 3,000 people and speak 99% Zulu, and the people understand. So I don't know if people know this. Sfiso Nene walked into the So You Think You're Funny auditions, maybe 2009 or whatever, in Bad Center, Durban. Did terribly trying to perform in English. I mean, this is maybe 2009 or 8. Then I said to him, leave and then come back again later, but you must perform in Zulu. And then he went on to win season 1 of So You Think You're Funny. And of course, I think by now we all know who Sfiso Nene is, So the ability to read the room is almost half the job done. So you are booked for a corporate, you think, let me tell you why my first DVD was called I Did These Jokes First, because I was trying to package my jokes. I thought everyone's starting to, bite some of my material, whatever. So I decided I'm going to get rid of this material. But because I started performing for just white people for about 2-3 years, from 98 until 2000, 2001, when I did the show, I think I partnered with YFM at the time. So now the jokes I plan to package that I've been doing since 98, performing largely to a white audience. The night I arrived to start my 2-week run at the Mandela Theatre, the audience was 90% black. So I started writing a new show on that night, maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes the first night. After 2 weeks, I had my 1 hour, 10 minutes. So I never even got to package the first or the material that I planned to do to get rid of that I used to perform to white people largely. I started writing a different show for the audience that was coming to the shows that week. So it's very important, you get booked for a corporate, you arrive and it's just CEOs or board members. You do another show, it's drivers and packers for a supermarket chain. So some people try and stick to what they know or the material that they were planning, but it's just really the ability to read the room. That's, I mean, you get booked sometimes. I used to MC some of the Siangoba rallies, especially in the Free State. So again, now you're dealing with children that have been bussed in from wherever. You've got community people. You've got people that some maybe, don't even speak English or don't even understand the language. You've got people that you can't walk in there and start telling your jokes about when you're in New York or when you were flying first class or when you were flying business.
They can't relate.
Yeah. So the ability to read the room is half the job done, and it's the job because we perform mostly live. So we're not on TV. We're not performing for the audience that's at home. Where then, if you do these live events, your SAFTAs or SAMAs, the audience that's been catered for is the one at home, not the people in the room necessarily, So, but it also then comes with experience. People are going to say, I'm not funny because this is very serious. But we're here. Very funny, Makufe Comedy. 5th October, there's other events happening. I don't know if, your listeners remember. I mean, Makufe hasn't happened now for 2 years. From, I think, 2007 to 2017, we're doing 3,000, 5,000 people per show on a Wednesday night in the middle of Free State, in Mangaung, for 10 years, So it'll be nice to be back there. It's been almost 5 years since the last time I think I did a Makufe. Then obviously there was COVID for 2 years. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's always a beautiful experience. I always tell people the best experience I had watching the World Cup was in Bloemfontein. So you can park your car anywhere in Bloem, literally, and walk the whole town. And you can go to the stadium, you can go to the restaurants, you can go to the events, you can go to that music festival, you can walk to where you live. It's a very interesting city, just from town planning. I've got this joke. You can be on the one side of the traffic light and be in town and cross the robot, and then you're in the township. I don't know if people know this street or know this thing about Bloemfontein. So you can answer your phone and go, hey, sure, over back. No, I'm in town. Yeah? No, Tumakasi.
Like within 3 seconds of crossing
the same conversation.
So the comedy gig is happening at Macufe. I know Macufe starts on the 2nd. There'll be a lot of events. Comedy is on the 5th. Who else will be there?
So there's a soccer game actually on the 25th September as well between Kaizer Chiefs and Royal AM, or the team formerly known as Bloemfontein Celtics.
Yeah, very soon they'll change to a symbol.
Yeah. So 5th October is the comedy show. Lots of acts, Skumba and Dumiso, Celeste, and Theo Kakao from Free State, Mashabe. Quite a nice lineup. Nukumu Swete, and then there's the Divas on the 7th of October, from Zonke to, I think, Lamis, there's DJing, Zahara, and then there's also the main festival which happens on the Saturday, on the 8th of October. Do is there, Mafiki Zolo, El Rato Khanyago is in the Makati, probably one of the most booked artists, I think, today in South Africa. So that whole 10 days of Bloemfontein just becoming, an amazing city. You go to that street, I forget the street name, where there's like 20 clubs, all full, all next to each other, peaceful, never been violence in my experience since I've been attending Macufe. It's a good vibe to just party outside town, outside Joburg or outside wherever you come from, and come to this Dorpi. And obviously there's other events, there's Afrikaans music festivals, there's crafts and markets and this and that. It's quite a jam-packed, nice cultural 10 days, which I think has actually put the Free State and Bloemfontein on the map, and Mangaung for many years now, more than 20 years now.
So I've luckily had the experience of Macufe many years before, soccer events, boxing events, comedy, and all those things. And I'm sure the excitement, especially that it has not been there for a while, it's quite palpable. I'm sure lots and lots of people will be coming out to go there. But before we wrap up, we still have like about 5 minutes or so. 0861 987 000, tweets at PowerFM987 or directly at Marara Moabelo. Speaking to David Kau. Munchuntswane a re tlabe ke le da ka di 5 tsa October. It's my birthday, so it will be my first time go that Dorpi. You're gonna have fun, Munchu. It's a beautiful place and beautiful women.
And there's even a golf day, on the Friday. A friend of mine does the Macufe golf day, Macufe Cup. He's been going on for years also. I think more than 10 years, if not 10 years this year. And the nice thing, the town actually kept it going. So even the 2 years when there was no Macufe, in those dates in October, some of the side events kind of continued, and people always remember those dates. So it's interesting then again when what the economy around the festival also is, just in terms of other events that spring up and the accommodation, the food and money that gets spent in the Free State. But lots of beautiful people. Beautiful, and just Free State people are actually nice people,
No, absolutely.
Although Rakana, especially the Fenita Celtics, but hey.
When you don't know the Fenita Swallows, ne? I know the fans are Celtic. I mean, I've done many a games Bloemfontein Celtic. I know exactly what you're talking about. They even have songs that do that. But you please go to a Swallows game one day, and then you will change your mind. No. Those my old people, Bako Swallows, they are deeper, man. They go
Let
deep.
me tell you, an American comedian friend of mine, Dwayne Perkins, we were once sitting in my house. Emphasis on my house, and we are watching. Well, there's a soccer game playing. It could have been a Swallows and something game. Yeah, this is a few years ago, and he's looking, and eventually he says to me, what's going on with the crowd, or why is the number of the crowd so low, or few people? And so when you're performing during the show that night, he says to me, we were sitting at David's house, and there was a soccer game playing with this team, and that team, I think there were more people at David's house than there were at this soccer game.
Please, don't go for my team, guys, please. Or is your house that big, Munna David?
But it was mind-blowing for me, like an American that's just sitting there, and in the background there's a soccer game that's playing, and he made that observation.
Dwelan Swallows. So besides Makufe, any other gigs that you have lined up that you can share with us, David?
So I'll do Black Songly at Empress Palace November 12th, which I'm moving from October 1st to November 12th. There's quite a lot happening on October 1st. Asam Avocat is one thing, Casper is boxing, and there's too many things. So, and I've been quite busy traveling a lot as well. So, and I'm quite big on health and resting.
Absolutely.
And I do some work with an organization called Psyched, which pretty much it's clinical psychologists you can consult video to video. So I've been doing quite a bit of work just trying to get people and get the message across. People have to look after themselves mentally, especially during COVID or post-COVID, and then especially with all the unemployed and loss of incomes from people, and people taking their lives, especially men. Hopefully you have a lot more people going out to comedy shows, because the irony of entertainment and comedy is that when the economy is down, companies cut entertainment, automatically cutting your comedians or musicians who would be booked. But the irony of the whole thing is when people are suffering, that's when they need laughter the most. That's when which I think why then South Africa ends up with the alcohol problem that they have. And I've been telling people for years, my biggest competition is alcohol, chisanyamas, hangouts, drinking, sports. It's not other comedians or people or events. I literally compete with, you arrive in town, you've advertised the show, you are at a car wash, you meet people that are there from 1 p.m. who've been drinking since that time, right? Hey, Manadeza, we're coming. Yeah, no, hey, I've got my ticket. Or you find the Mureki guy there with his combi, and it's him and 5 girls that he's buying tickets for. 7 p.m. comes, the guy comes to your show, he's already half drunk. 8 p.m. he's passed out in the show. They now literally physically have to get him up to go home. But now 6-7 people stand up to leave.
Yeah, no.
And that's if they even made it to the show,
No, absolutely,
so,
David.
Yeah,
we are unfortunately out of time, but thank you so much for coming through to talk to us. And I guess me, like Munch and many others, will see you at 5 go Makufe. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you very much.
David Kau talking to us just about comedy and the journey that he's been on.
You've been listening to a Power 98.7 podcast. For more podcasts, visit power987.co.za or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.